which this is all prelude, the more interesting part of your observations the most interesting part is the question of what are the big questions? What have we learned or not learned about them? And you start off with China. Talk about China, why we failed here.
Russ, what I actually find extraordinary about China, and I mentioned that there's a really big absence of the rewards or acknowledgement given to work on China, is because if you were to select one topic which has really transformed lives of so many people, 1/4 practically of mankind. And I believe after the Industrial Revolution and probably after maybe the US rise to economic superpower status in the latter part of the 19th century, early 20th century, this is the third event whose size may be even dwarfing the other previous two events. So we are really happy, this is happening in real time. And let me give you an example that, of course, you would love because it goes back with Adam Smith. Adam Smith is observing the beginnings of the Industrial Revolution, the transformation into a commercial society. And the entire work of the Wealth of Nations, and actually, as you, of course, highlight theory of moral sentiments, is based on observing these relations between individuals at home with each other and between themselves and the wider community. And we are now in a very similar position. We are observing really a unique event of an incredibly huge size. And we are, whether we criticize the Nobel Prize, we are not rewarding people who have actually said something. Now, just to finish that, I'm not sure that we have a definitive answer on China. Probably will never have it. No, Chinese don't have it. Americans don't have it. Nobody has it. But there are certainly people who have worked on China, from the economics of China, and who have come up with some, interesting insights. I mean, I remember for myself, when I was actually teaching at some point, it was maybe more particularly that topic on transition in China. Martin Weissman, who wrote about township and village enterprises in China. For me, that was a kind of revelatory article because it basically goes and discusses everything that these TVEs do, which is against neoclassical approach, starting with very non-transparent property rights, dual price system, basically everything. And that was for me absolutely, stunning. I said, why is this happening? What do we know about it? And this is, I'm just going one example because obviously this is not an area I've written obviously on China, but I'm not going to pull names, this guy or that guy, but it is really something that is worthwhile highlighting.
I feel the same way about China. I think it's the central economic event of our lifetime. It's an extraordinary event historically, the transformation of standard of living. And people on, quote, my side, the free market-oriented people, say, well, we know why China got rich. They used markets. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, they did use markets more than they did before, but they did a lot of other stuff that's not market-oriented. Yeah. Immense investment in infrastructure, immense transformation of property rights in complicated ways. And of course, if you're like me, prone to like free markets and neoclassical economics, you're going to say, well, they let people keep more of what they created, and that's why they grew. And that has something to do with it. I believe that. But you can't just pretend they went from a socialist, authoritarian, communist system to a free market system. They didn't do that. So how do you account for the significance of what was left? And of course, it's easy to say, well, they'd have grown even more if they'd been more free market oriented, which could be true. But where's the evidence? I mean, what's other than a prior belief, which is, what we all have. So I think it's kind of important. And the question then becomes, what might a scholar, a seeker after truth, what might they use to get more information on that?